stop what you're doing and stop Super Quantum. Zaytan,
The black one!
Good afternoon, jank enthusiasts. I'm MBT, and this is 10-Minute Testing. Are you familiar with the concept of quantum immortality? That based on random predictors, infinite universes spawn from determinate actions. Today, we'll examine the universe we've been thrust into, one where super quantum might actually be playable. Presenting Fiendsmith Quantum.
Super Quantal Mech King Great Magnus is now... Magnus, Great King of the Computer! What the...
So here's the list. This is lifted whole cloth from Kazaarus. A link to their video is in the description. As always, I'll give you a background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and of course, the card by card. But first, this video is sponsored by Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck. Despite what some Yu-Gi-Tubers who shall not be named would have you believe, the TCG is alive and well. And if you're looking to start your journey into paper, there's no better place to begin than Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck. With up-to-the-minute reporting on every major tournament worldwide, searchable and interactable pie charts and deck lists, and all the bells and whistles you've come to expect from one of the best draft and collection management sites on the net, Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck is the place to be. Check it out today at www.ygoprodeck.com. Now back to the video. With that, let's quibble about Quant. Super Quantum is a series of rubber mask superheroes that combine to form the fearsome Magnus, King of the Computer, the poster child for towers. Outside of, towers. These monsters have propelled a dozen duelists to top finishes during formats you wouldn't expect, but their legacy actually has very little to do with their big mistake and much more to do with their ability as extenders. Blue has featured heavily in decks incidentally playing emergency teleport like Extra Deck Monarch, Red has been incredibly important for rank 5 strategies and Isold setups, and Grampulse has been a feature in rank 3 decks for a decade. Despite their relative power, they were always a tool better decks could use to improve their extension capabilities, and as all gas combos phased out of the metagame, so too did our supers. Until now. For some reason, Duelists Advance has Super Quantum support. Super Quantum Black Layer, who is very clearly just Fenrir, and Super Quantum Fairy Zaytan debuted a few months ago alongside some new spells and traps. And these cards are 2025 designs through and through. Black Layer is a hand trap that can tag into a mech beast as early as turn 0, accessing monster negates or pops depending on the grip, and Zaytan is literally like 5 bodies worth of material for free. So why hasn't the OCG tinkered with these toys? Well, they pair elegantly with a Fiendsmith adjacent TCG exclusive, Lusa the Dusk's Dark. On the draw, or on the play if your opponent starts Izunning, this monster can bin fairies like White Layer, which represent full combo. In this way, Fiendsmith can bridge to Quant, and Quant can bridge to Fiendsmith using synergy that Canine Vanquish Soul wishes it had. No, you're not making Magnus, but you are winning games. With that, let's get into the card by card. First up, let's talk about the new guy on the block, Super Quantum Black Layer. 3 of this bad boy. When your opponent activates a monster effect, you can discard another card, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand, and if this card is special summoned, you can special summon a Super Quantal Mech Beast Xyz monster from your extra deck using this card you control as material, and if you do, attach a Super Quant monster from your graveyard to it. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add a Super Quant spell from your deck to your hand. The spell we're going to be searching is Layer 19 Sudden Incursion Super Quantum Black. This card can activate one of these effects, but only each effect once per turn. Target an attack position monster on the field, change it to defense position. If you control a Super Quantum monster, special summon a Super Quant from your deck with a different original attribute, or set a Super Quant trap from your deck. It can be activated this turn. Now, pretty obviously, the good one here is the second effect, but the first effect also tends to come up. We're playing 3 copies of Super Quantal Fairy Zaytan, which if you control a Super Quant can be specialed. Then you can make this card's level the same as one Super Quantum you control. This makes it way easier to get into the layered beasts. You contribute this card and send a Super Quant card from your deck to the graveyard, except a Dark Monster, semicolon, that's right, 4 cost, special summon a Super Quant monster from your deck except Zaytan. All of those are hard onces. For Fiendsmiths, we're on 3 Engraver, 1 Lacrima, and 1 Lurie. For spells, we're on 3 Emergency Teleports, 2 Tract, and a Fiendsmith in Paradise. For non-engine, we're playing 3 copies of Fuwalos, 3 copies of Ash Blossom, 2 Ghost Ogre, 2 Ghost Bell, 1 Triple Tack, 1 Called by the Grave, and triple Infinite Impermanence. In the extra, we've got Fiendsmith's Requiem, an IP Masquerena, a Moon, a Sequence, a Little Knight, and an Agnum Day. For Xyz, we're on the Grampulse, the Magnaliner, the Wave High King Caesar, the Lusterix, and a Typhon Sky Crisis. We are also on the Duke of Demise, A copy of Necroquip Princess, Luce the Dusk's Dark, which says monsters in your left or rightmost main monster zones can't be destroyed by card effects, and once per turn you can target a card your opponent controls, send a fiend or fairy from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, destroy that card. And if another card you control is destroyed by a card effect, you can target a card on the field, destroy it, and one copy of Fiendsmith's Desiree. On the side, we've got Lancias, Phantasmes, Dark Ruler No Mores, Harpies, Feather Dusters, Solemn Strikes, and Solemn Judgments. So with that, let's check out some games. Our first match is up against Lunalight, and back from its second place finish at Worlds, we are playing against it with a rogue deck. Okay, we've got a couple of copies of Impulse in the grip, but otherwise their hand isn't that fantastic. Ours, however, is. We're going to go red layer into a copy of Zatan, then we'll activate the Zatan effect to send a white layer, at which point our opponent will Dominus Impulse. Okay, no big deal. From here we can activate the effect of the white layer in order to grab an Alphan, then normal summon the Alphan, activating its effect to get a red from deck. We'll send a couple of cards to the graveyard, including a black and a blue, then we'll use the effect of the red layer and the effect of the black layer, using the effect of the blue layer here to chain block. We're going to go ahead and get the spell before going into Moon of the Closed Heaven, using the effect of the red layer in order to cycle back the white layer and going Requiem. Requiem effect will summon a copy of Lacrima from the deck, and Lacrima, unsurprisingly, is going to send a copy of the Fiendsmith. We'll activate the Engraver effect, shuffling back that Moon of the Closed Heaven, and then afterwards we'll go into a copy of Fiendsmith sequence, activate its effect, 1, 2, 3, and we can also go into Desiree. From here, we can link off for an SP Little Knight, set 2, activate sequence, targeting the Desiree, and pass turn. Now, you might wonder why we didn't set the Fiendsmith in Paradise. Well, we've got to discard something. Our opponent's going to begin with a copy of Masquerade. They're going to send a copy of Silverhound to the graveyard. We'll activate the effect of the black layer. They'll activate the effect of the Dominus Impulse, and we will Desiree to negate the entire field. From this position, we'll resolve the effect of the black layer, pitching the Fiendsmith in Paradise, summoning it to our side of the field as they go Gold Leo, which we will negate in chain with infinite impermanence. Once that's negated, we'll resolve the effect of our black layer to make an on Lusterex. They're going to go for a Kaleido Chick. We will SP Little Knight here just to get it out of loop range. We'll get it into the banished zone, which will trigger its effect hilariously. They'll go for Black Cheap to get a Polymerization, then activate the Poly in order to diffuse their entire board away for a Perfume Dancer. Perfume 1, the negated Masquerade 2 to chain block, and then the effect of the Kaleido Chick 3. We will negate the effect of the Perfume Dancer, leaving them on absolutely nothing. They are going to go to the battle phase and attack into the Lusterex. Then in main phase 2, we can activate the effect of our Super Quantum Black into the Graveyard Silverhound. Okay, should just be easy to clean up from this position. We will draw for turn. It's an E-Telly. We're going to go for the Zatan, and they'll concede. So that's how the deck performs on the play, but what does it do on the draw? Well, it's a Fiendsmith control deck, so you can imagine there's a lot of hand craps in here. Here we've got 3 of them against Melodious, a deck that's still very frightening despite the fact that it has mostly been crept. They're going to begin with a copy of Ostinato for Baka. That Fulos is going to draw us a card, but they're going to go Baka and Tam Tam. We'll negate the Baka with our Infinite Impermanence, and then afterwards they are just going to go ahead and try for the Couplet. Couplet here for the Fusion spell will be met with a Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, followed by a normal summoned copy of Refrain, in order to grab another Couplet, which triggers and summons the Tam Tam from Graveyard. From here, Tam Tam will trigger, and they will grab a Polymerization into the Polymerization in order to make a copy of Flowering Etoile. We will draw another card, but that's a really scary card to try and deal with. They have about 1,000 effects to trigger here, setting Scales as well as burning for 500, and bring back the Tam Tam as well, who will trigger once again to cycle this copy of Poly. From here, they could go Refrain in order to bin this copy of Elegy, and then Poly in order to make a Schuberta. They'll go for the effect of the Tam Tam targeting the Flowering Etoile, and then the Flowering Etoile here as well in order to banish those, turning on the first movement solo for a specialed Aria. Scary stuff, but we do have the out in hand, the Triple Tactics talents. It's just a matter of getting them to activate something, so let's try to do that. We'll begin with Tract in order to get Lurie back. We will link off that Lurie for a Requiem effect for a Lacrima, and a Lacrima effect in order to send a copy of the Fiendsmith Engraver. Surely you're not giving that up. No, they are not. They're going to go Schuberta here, banish everything that could theoretically be relevant, and we will fire off Triple Tactics talent in order to take. Let's grab this copy of Flowering Etoile and fire off an emergency teleport for a blue layer. Blue layer here will trigger in order to grab us a copy of Zatan. We'll activate the Zatan effect, summoning it, then the Zatan effect on field, sending white in order to tag in a black. We can trigger the effect of the black on field and the white in graveyard in order to grab ourselves a copy of Alphan and overlay for a Lusterex, who is on. We'll go Moon of the Closed Heaven into Alphan, activate the effect of the Alphan, getting from our deck a black layer. Okay, whatever. Red does get to trigger here, which brings back the white layer, and then we can use Flowering Etoile in order to banish our opponent's Schuberta as we make a Typhon and bounce their last remaining monster. This should be lethal. We'll activate the effect of the black layer in graveyard just for follow-up and get in for 24, 12, 24, and 29. Woof. Who said Etoile was hard to out? So it's time for game 3, and you know what that means, a best of 3 versus meta. Our opponent's on Yummy, and we have an interesting opener. It's not fantastic, and the name of the game against Yummy is going to be keeping every single monster of theirs off the field. Let's see if we can accomplish it with this. Thankfully, they have no interaction the first turn, so we're just going to go for the effect of the white layer, pitching a black layer. Black layer triggers to get us a copy of the spell, and we activate the spell in order to get a blue from deck. Blue triggers, and we will just go ahead and grab a black layer to grip as we link off for a Moon of the Closed Heaven. That's going to trigger the effect of the white and the effect of the blue, so we can block that white as we shuffle back the spell and go into the Requiem line. Requiem for Lacrima, Lacrima in order to send a Fiendsmith to the graveyard, and from here we should be Gucci. We'll activate the effect of the Fiendsmith Engraver, summoning it to our side of the field as we make a sequence and activate the sequence effect 1, 2, 3 to make ourselves a copy of Desiree. From here we can normal summon this Alphan and summon from our deck a copy of Red Layer. Okay, that's pretty good. We're going to trigger the Red Layer effect on field in order to cycle back the Zaton, then the Zaton effect in order to summon itself and go into an Ognum Day. Ognum Day is going to target this copy of Desiree, equipping itself. We'll use the effect of the sequence as well as we link off into a Masquerena, trigger the effect of the Red Layer in order to summon back the Black Layer, set a card, and pass back to our opponent. They'll draw for turn. Thankfully, it is a card that kind of nullifies the power of that Engage. We're going to go for Masquerena as soon as possible to banish that token. We'll trigger the effect of the Black Layer as well in order to grab the spell once again. And then our opponent's going to go for Yummy Amusement Mignon. They're going to go Cupsy into Snatchy into Mignon. We'll activate SP Little Knight, targeting the Snatchy before it can tag out into a Synchro monster. But of course, since the Cupsy is on field, it will activate. We'll go for the effect of Black Layer here. They are going to go ahead and grab a card from their deck to their hand. Here, the Yummy Surprise as we make the Magna Liger as they go for Snatchy. They'll go for Snatchy effect for the other Yummy Field spell. They'll go for Cookie. We will go for Desiree. They will go for Snatchy. We'll go for Magna Liger to pop it. And now, of course, they can't perform that Synchro Summon, and their monsters and spells effects are going to be negated. Afterwards, we'll cycle back this blue into a Snatchy into a Lolipo Yummy Way. That's going to get them a Cookie and a Snatchy, at which point we can Fiendsmith in Paradise in order to eat the board. They can tag out, but of course, this is just more fodder for the Paradise. We will send everything to the graveyard except for our Desiree, at which point we can just go ahead and grab back our material to the extra using the effect of blue. They'll go for Yummy Surprise in order to summon, and we'll go for the Fiendsmith in Paradise to send... Right, our target is on field. Okay, well, thankfully, this is mostly the end of our opponent's turn anyway. They're just going to go for the Yummy Snatchy and pass turn. We've got the SP Little Knight, which immediately checks it, and they'll concede. So it's time for game 2, and if it ain't, 4 hand craps and a 1-card charter. Our opponent's going first, and we are going to begin with a copy of Fuwalos. They'll go to main phase 1 and go for the Cupsy Yummy effect. They will activate its effect, and then afterwards they will link off for a Snatchy. We'll draw a card, and then Snatchy will trigger. They're going to set a copy of a Query into a Cupsy Yummy into a Triple Tactics Thrust. That's worth my Ash Blossom, certainly. They'll set 1 card and pass back to us. We draw, and maybe just a little too late. We'll go for the Fiendspith Tract here, pitching this copy of Lurie to the graveyard as we link it off for a Requiem. Activate its effect in order to summon from deck a Lacrima. We'll activate the Lacrima effect on field. We're going to send a copy of the Fiendsmith to the graveyard, activate the effect of the Fiendsmith in order to summon it to our side of the field, and then afterwards they will go for Yummy Snatchy. From here, they will Synchro Summon a copy of Cookie Yummy Way, which books our entire field, but also turns on our Triple Tactics talents. We're going to go for the take. They will tag out for a Snatchy and a Cupsy. We will take the Snatchy, so no more Synchroing this turn. They will resolve the Cupsy, but I aim to do enough here. We're going to go for the effect of our Zatan here. They're going to chain the effect of Yummy Surprise for another Cupsy as we go for a White Layer. We'll trigger the effect of the White Layer and the Red Layer, targeting the Zaton in order to bring it back, and bin a copy of Black Layer, which enables it to get us this copy of the Pitch Black Super Quantum. We will make Moon of the Closed Heaven and then summon a blue from deck using the spell. Blue effect is going to grab us access to Zaton again. We'll activate the Zaton effect as special to our field, and then afterwards we can overlay for a Grand Pulse, which we can use to contest the Aquari. We'll do that, then activate the effect of the Tract in order to fuse with our face down monsters for a Desiree for a sequence, triggering the effect of the Desiree in order to shuffle back to send one of the Cupsy Yummies and grab ourselves and Fairy Alphan as well. Finally, we're going to go for a sequence. That's 2 for Duke of Demise. That Duke of Demise is going to net us an extra normal for a Fairy Alphan, which we can use in order to grab ourselves a blue from deck, sending 2 as well. From here, we'll go Blue Layer effect in graveyard as we ladder up to Agnum Day, so we still have material to work with on a future turn, followed by the Agnum Day equipped to a Desiree. We're also going to equip this copy of Fiendsmith's Requiem and this copy of Sequence, which means it will pierce for 54, getting in for lethal. So we're back with the deck, and wow, been a while since we had a 4-stack. Let's do the pros and cons. First, the pros. 1. Black Layer is such a fun fucking card to play. It's extremely flexible as an interrupt as early as turn 0. It's spell trap removal, it's negates, or it's monster pops depending on your needs. 2. The engines complement each other. Lusa brings Fiendsmith into Quant, and Quant can set up the graveyard to get into Fiendsmith. And of course, 3, these cards are grindy. The name of the game in this format is repeatability, and the Fiendsmith shuffles affecting both engines means you're unlikely to run out of gas, ever. And the cons. 1. The end board is not great. It's a Fiendsmith control deck. It'll make do, but often you're just a couple of non-engine pieces plus cards with which an opponent is already prepared to interact. 2. Black Layer is only okay when it's being a hand trap on turn 0. Since the layer exes need their associated color underneath them, you're kind of railroaded into whatever you have in the opener going first. And 3. Fuwalos. The Super Quant engine really needs to summon from deck to make Black Layer worth anything, and Fiendsmith needs to get to Requiem to end on even 1 interaction. Unless you see multiple Quant cards, or specifically Blue Layer, they're getting at least a couple of draws. All in all, I'm impressed with what the new Quantum cards can do. They're definitely not as explosive as the top meta decks, but they reward pilots with knowledge about each other strategy's weaknesses. So that's that. Thanks so much for watching. These 10-minute testings are made possible by, and occasionally suggested by, my patrons, some of whom have paid a lot of money to be mentioned at the end of the episode. Here are them now. Elena Tincher, Allison Elliott, Ally, APK Pearly Tier 0, Brett Henry, Captive XC, Cool Name, Damon O'Neill, Dark Rebel XYZ, DJ Elefante, El Gravo, El Guacho Malas Opiniones, Emiliano De Verino, NB Adams, Fabrizio Petroli, Felix, Garrett Rand, Fergalicious, John Paradise, Night Mary, Legal Rights, Lucas Rosas, Luis Hernandez, Master Key 090, Matthew M. Derezzo, MBT Play Madolce, Mike Carlotti, N54 Lionheart, Nacho Gonzalez, Pombo, Project Mercury, Rants Are My Thing, Rohan Doge, Rose Lapine, Serpentax, Sly Ninja 43, Soul CLG, Troy Says By Erasure Is Gay, Buznik, Yuki Kazami, and Zircon Sun. Couldn't have done it without you.